Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Don't be surprised if the WNBA is next on his list. Yep. Don't be surprised.
We've all witnessed it this season. The head-scratching calls, the missed fouls, and those jaw-dropping moments that had fans shouting at their TVs. How is that not a foul? Even the commentators have been left speechless at times, struggling to make sense of what just unfolded on the court. But here's the thing. What if those weren't just simple mistakes or bad nights for the officials? What if there's actually something much deeper going on? Because recent revelations suggest exactly that. Multiple referees have reportedly given sworn testimony, and the shocking name tied to their statements, none other than WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert. And if what they're saying is true, it could shake the entire league to its core.
WNBA referees, man, there has been a lot of conversations this past season in regards to the commissioner, the referees, and the injuries.
This isn't gossip. This isn't clickbait. What's unfolding right now could be one of the biggest internal scandals the WNBA has ever faced. And at the center of it all, Caitlin Clark, the rookie who flipped the entire league upside down. She boosted ratings, packed arenas, drew massive sponsorships, and somehow still found herself tangled in a controversy she never asked for. So before we get into the details, stick around until the end, because what's happening here doesn't just explain the bizarre officiating we've seen all season. It exposes something much deeper about the politics, control, and chaos hiding inside the WNBA. And hey, before we jump in, hit that like button and subscribe. Your support keeps us digging for the truth behind stories like this one. Now let's rewind to where it all started a few weeks ago. An internal league report quietly surfaced, one that was never supposed to go public. According to insiders, several referees were brought in for what was officially described as a performance review. But what came out during those sessions was explosive, too big to stay buried. Leaked excerpts from that testimony suggest multiple officials admitted they were instructed to manage optics during games. Sounds harmless at first, but here's what it really meant. Keep the league's image polished, make the matchups look competitive. Don't let one player, no matter how dominant, take over the narrative. And of course, everyone knew who that message was aimed at. Caitlin Clark. It makes perfect sense. Wherever Caitlin played, the spotlight followed. Sold out arenas, record-breaking viewership, jerseys flying off the shelves. But instead of celebrating her impact, things started to feel off. Games got rougher, calls became inconsistent, and the more physical it got, the less the whistle blew. Fans noticed immediately. Every time Caitlin got hacked driving to the rim, no call. Every time she got shoved off balance, play on. It wasn't subtle anymore, it was obvious. At first, people chalked it up to rookie treatment. Every new star takes their lumps, right? But as the season went on, the pattern became impossible to ignore. Then came the real bombshell. Referees allegedly admitting they were told to keep games balanced. One statement read, "We were given directives about maintaining parity and avoiding blowouts. We were reminded to protect the product." That phrase, "protect the product," sent chills through fans. Because if the product they were protecting wasn't the integrity of the game, but the league's image, then every whistle, every missed call suddenly looked like part of a bigger plan. And that's when one name started surfacing again and again, Kathy Engelbert, the WNBA commissioner. Engelbert came from Deloitte, not basketball. Her background is business, branding, sponsorships, and perception. She's helped the league grow financially, no doubt. But now her leadership is under fire for a far darker reason. If these testimonies are true, it could mean Engelbert's administration influenced officiating, directly or indirectly, to shape how fans see the game. That's not just questionable. It's a betrayal of everything sports are supposed to stand for. Now, let's talk about the players, because this story doesn't just live in courtrooms and leaked reports. On one side, there's Caitlin Clark, calm, composed, never complains. She takes the hits, then quietly drops another 30-piece like nothing happened. On the other side, you've got players like Aja Wilson and Angel Reese, emotional, outspoken, and frustrated that their spotlight is being shared, or maybe even stolen. When Aja was asked about Caitlin's rapid rise and the league's shifting focus, her answer said it all. Some of us had to grind for years for this kind of respect, and now it feels like others get it overnight. That comment went viral instantly, and half the internet called it shade. Half the internet called Aja's words shade. The other half called them truth. Then Angel Reese jumped in and poured gasoline on the fire. posting cryptic messages like, "Now y'all finally seeing how this league really works." What exactly was she hinting at? Nobody knows for sure, but with these leaked testimonies now out in the open, fans are starting to connect the dots. Maybe the players already knew something, that behind the scenes, the league's business interests were being placed above the integrity of the game. Meanwhile, Commissioner Kathy Engelbert stayed completely silent. No press conferences, no statements, nothing. And that silence only made things worse. Because when referees are testifying under oath and players are battling it out online, silence doesn't look professional. It looks guilty. Behind closed doors, reports say things got very tense. One insider even claimed Engelbert held an emergency meeting with top league officials to discuss narrative control and trying to figure out how to contain the damage. But by then, it was too late. Once the word testify hit social media, the story spread like wildfire. Sports media jumped on it instantly. Stephen A. Smith went on air and said, "If this is true, it's not just a bad look, it's a stain on the game." Fans started tagging ESPN demanding answers. Podcasters began digging for leaks. And suddenly, the WNBA's biggest PR win, Caitlin Clark's rise, turned into its biggest PR nightmare. Because here's the irony. The more the league tried to control her, the more unstoppable she became. They wanted to protect the product, but instead they exposed how fragile it truly was. And now things could get even uglier. If any part of these testimonies turns out to be true, if it's proven that officials were instructed to manipulate calls or manage optics, then this isn't just a scandal. It could lead to a federal investigation into sports manipulation. Because in professional sports, influencing referees isn't just unethical, it's illegal. Just look back at the NBA's Tim Donaghy scandal in the 2000s. One referee's actions nearly destroyed the league's credibility. Now imagine something like that happening in a league that's just beginning to find its momentum in women's sports. The fallout could be devastating. Through it all, Caitlin Clark has done what she always does. Stayed calm, focused, and professional. No posts, no drama, just basketball. She's still putting up monster numbers, nearly 28 points and 8 assists a night, and filling every arena she walks into. And the irony? The louder the controversy gets, the louder the fans cheer for her. Because now, it's not just about the game anymore, it's about fairness. Fans aren't just rooting for Caitlin Clark, they're standing up for the truth. But this isn't only about one player. This is about a system built on outdated rules and hidden agendas. A system that's finally being exposed. Caitlin might have sparked the fire, but that fire was already burning beneath the surface. Now the league stands at a crossroads. Will it keep protecting its image and bury the truth, or will it finally face the fans and rebuild the trust it's lost? Because one thing's certain, fans don't forget. They've seen the hits, the missed calls, and the silence. And once that trust is gone, it's almost impossible to win back. The newest reports confirm what many feared. The league's internal investigation has now widened. This isn't rumor territory anymore. It's real. Referees are being questioned for a second time. Some have already hired lawyers, and major sponsors are quietly watching every move. That's corporate language for, we don't want our brand tied to a scandal. And now, Commissioner Kathy Engelbert isn't just defending her reputation. She's fighting to protect the league's entire financial future. If this situation keeps escalating, don't be surprised if we start seeing resignations, restructuring, or even outside oversight stepping in to clean house. Because when the very referees you hired to uphold fairness start turning against the system, that's when you know something is deeply broken. But through all the chaos, one thing stands unshakable. Caitlin Clark changed everything. Whether you love her or not, she forced the WNBA to evolve. She pushed the spotlight wider, drew millions of new eyes, and in the process, exposed cracks that had been hiding in plain sight. She didn't need to speak out. Her silence said more than words ever could, and maybe that's exactly why the league feared her so much. Because real power doesn't always come from what you say. It comes from how you carry yourself when everyone else is losing control. As this investigation unfolds, one question looms large. What else will come to light? Will players start speaking up? Will the league finally admit fault? Or will this moment mark the beginning of a new era? One where fans demand transparency over control. One thing's certain, this story is far from over, and that's silence from the top. That's not confidence, That's fear, because the truth is already out there, and no amount of optics management can bury it anymore. They tried to contain Caitlin Clark's rise. They tried to limit her influence. But in doing so, they exposed the system itself. And now, every foul, every whistle, every missed call will be under the microscope like never before. Because when the referees finally spoke out, they didn't just reveal the truth, they changed the game forever.